Now this next row, what they tell you in the directions is, this first piece, we went ahead and put a full length piece in. And now the next piece, we'll probably put a 2/3 length in. Okay, that way when you snap the next piece in, it overlaps your joint. You don't want these joints. Here's a finished joint right there. You don't want to have two of those together. Okay? And in fact, you want them about 2 planks away from each other. So that's why this next one will be a 2/3 piece, and then the next one will be about a 1/3 piece, and then the next one will be a full piece, then a 2/3 piece, then a 1/3 piece, or something like that. You know, if you end up after 3 or 4 rows and you got a piece that is a foot instead of a 1.5 feet or something for your first piece, you can put that in. You just don't want to get too close to any of your pre-finished ends, okay? Like this next piece, you don't want to put a 2/3 piece in here and then a full one, and then a 2/3 piece, then a full one. You want to get away from those joints a little bit so that they're kind of staggered throughout your floor. And if you do it that way, then you're going to end up having, you know, every 3rd row you're going to have about a seam right here and on down the row. Then you'll have another one over here. Then you got your pre-finished 4-foot seam there, and then another one. You see what I'm saying? And it's all interlocking, so then your floor is going to fit and line up nice and even. And you want your joints sporadic like that. That way it kind of holds everything together. And that's a good way to do it. If you got any questions, read those directions. Oh, that's funny. Read the directions. Read the directions up to a certain extent. And watch what I'm doing here too. Because as I told you, I showed you all the reasons why I ripped this first one down. I made it narrower instead of a full piece so it fit up next to the door better. Okay? So the directions are only going to tell you so much. So take everything a little bit with a grain of salt. Watch my entire video. If you got questions, look at the directions as well. Go back to the video. If you got any questions, you can send me some comments and questions and ask about certain things. But the basics of what I'm explaining to you here will fit much any floor. So far after running those 3 pieces, I only have a piece like this, so I can't use this. I wouldn't want to put that up first because then I'm getting too close to this joint for the next row. I want a 3/4 row, so I could probably use this down on my 3rd row, you know, and you'll get finished pieces, you know, cut little pieces like this along the way from once you start cutting some here and there. And then you try to use up the scraps the best you can. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and measure one that's about, you know, right in here for a 3/4 piece. And I want to try to stay away from any little joints, you know, that are embossed or glued together, you know, not out in the joints. Here's a joint here, but then here's another line here, there's a line there. But, so I don't want to get too close to one of those, and I don't see anything here, so I'm just going to measure this one 32 inches, and I'm going to cut it off. I could have made it 33, 34, 29, 36, anything like that. But I'm going to go ahead, what did I say? I'll make it 32 inches. And because this room is so small, I'm just going to kind of lay out from 32 inches and make sure that I don't line up with the full piece too close to this right-hand wall. And I think I'm going to be okay. Ooh, that's pretty close. Okay, so that's one thing. That's one thing I want to make sure that before I cut that, because had I cut it right at 32 inches, I might have had a 4-foot piece and then a little 1/2 inch piece that I had to cut on the very end of that. You know what I mean? So as you start, you'll get going after a while, and you'll know about what you need to cut. But the last thing you want is just a small piece at the end that you kind of have to kind of fold in. Okay? So I'm going to measure this a little bit better. In fact, if I measure that there at 4 feet, and about 4 feet there. See, that was pretty close. That would have given me about a 2-inch little piece over there. So if I make this one a little over 36 inches long, then my last piece will be just less than 4 feet. So just check things out, or you make this one a little bit smaller, then at least I start over there with a 8 or 9 inch piece, and then I've got enough for another starter length later. You'll see. I don't want to confuse you at the beginning like this, but just have to think about things before you start making your cuts.